Good morning. Once again, it's your lawyer's favorite lawyer back with Monday Motivation. I have a subject that I want to jump into real quick because I think that sometimes we look at things but we don't understand what we're looking at. So this morning, I want to talk about the need to stand out, the need to stand out, to separate yourself from maybe in some cases competition if you're in the same or similar business, if you're trying to get a particular job from the competition related to that particular job. But a lot of times in life we are seeing people that are successful and we don't understand that a long time before they were successful, they separated themselves from the competition. I'm going to kind of do it. I wrote out my notes, but I'm kind of doing it in reverse. That Drake and Rick Ross song where the person says that you weren't with me when I was shooting in the gym. I love that song because a lot of times we don't understand that a person didn't fall out of bed and become successful. There were a lot of times in which they were by themselves working on their craft. A lot of times where they spent time alone and they were working on their craft. If you talk to the greats, you'll notice that the greats are obsessed with improvement. The greats are obsessed with improvement. So I hear stories about Michael Jordan, and when Michael Jordan would use the gym and the custodians. There's people that came up and cleaned up after, so they come later in the afternoon and night. He would tell them, "Don't worry about it. I'll lock up," because he was still in there getting it. You know, Kobe Bryant. You hear a story about him. He lost the game down in Miami. Instead of going to South Beach and turning up, instead of going to the club, and there's some wonderful clubs down there. Instead of going to King of Diamonds or down to South Beach, he was in the gym 4 hours after the game, and somebody came to him and said, "Kobe, you lost the game." And he said, "Yeah, but next time I have that particular shot, I'm not going to miss that particular shot." So you learn from the greats that they have an impeccable work ethic that is trying to gain separation. Now, here's what you also learn from the greats. You learn sometimes that the greats were not the best or the most talented. They just worked at separation. And so that's why I try to tell people you don't always have to be the best at something. Sometimes you just have to work harder or know a little bit more about your subject. Now, I'm going to give you some examples in nature. As you all know, I fish. I fish a lot. I love it. And when people go fishing with me sometimes, they wonder why certain things don't bother me. Like, I'll give you an example. I go down to Pine Bluff and I go fishing, and a lot of times I'm on my boat and I'm fishing close to the bank, and I'll start to catch fish. And I'll see people start to move down the bank towards where I'm catching the fish. And sometimes the people even get, almost right on you. Like they'll throw their lure 5 feet from your lure. And my friend who fishes with me says, "Man, doesn't that bother you?" I said, "Absolutely not." I said, "Why?" I said, "Because I know the nature of the fish." See, most of the people that are fishing for the fish don't understand the nature of that particular fish. So they don't know how to get separation from that particular fish. Crappie are very, very particular fish. And some of you fishermen, I'm going to give you some hints today just because I feel like you should know why I separate myself. But they are particular fish. They have large eyeballs that are on the top of their head, which means they are sensitive to sunlight. But also they feed up. They look up. So oftentimes when you fish for those particular fish, if you fish below them, you'll miss them. You fish beside them, you'll miss them. You have to fish above them. And so I know that. And so when I go and I fish above them. So even when people are fishing right next to me, they're fishing 2 feet below them, I know they're not going to catch that particular fish. I don't even get nervous. The other thing is this. In nature, sometimes you have to stand out. If you've ever seen a minnow in live water, like if you've ever caught a fish or you've had a fish and that fish spits up a minnow, a shad, that shad is gray. And so these shad swim in these balls and they're all gray. And so what do? When I go fishing, I bring a pink or orange minnow. I know what you're saying. Pink minnow. Yeah, there are such things as a pink minnow. They actually look like goldfish, little tiny goldfish. And I fish with them. Because in thousands of gray fish, that orange fish is going to stand out. And that means the fish who are looking for an easy meal are going to go right to that orange fish instead of trying to chase those thousands of gray fish. And so oftentimes with that orange minnow fishing above the fish, I have separated myself from the competition on the bank. So there's no worry about if they're gonna catch more than me. Now, a friend of mine says I'm giving out too much fishing information. I mean, it's in Fisherman. You can go check it out yourself. My point is a simple point. You have to separate yourself from the particular competition. When I first got into private practice, nobody knew me. I was a young black lawyer bobbling around the courthouse. How did I separate myself? Well, Dean Nance, the first female dean at the Arkansas School of Law and the first black dean at the Arkansas School of Law, also the first AKA dean, and I could go on and on about her resume, love her to death. She said to me, and I believe Ephraim was present, or maybe she said it to Ephraim and I was present, I don't remember that, but she mentioned, Jimmy, if you don't stop wearing those socks, because when people know me, I wear some funny socks. Nobody in the legal community is going to take you seriously. I had already invested in the ugly socks, so I was going to keep them. Besides, as a lawyer, you wear dark, drab clothing all the time. I'm going to have fun with something, and it had to be my socks and my tie. I remember John Lynch, the court reporter. And the court reporter once told me, he said, Jimmy, I did not recognize you without your bow tie. I said, oh. How did I create separation when I had no skill sets and I had to market myself? See, when you come into private practice and you don't have any recommendation, nobody knows who you are, you have to separate yourself from that competition. So what did I do? I used a uniform. My uniform was the bow tie. Why? Because 99% of people wear straight ties. So a black guy with a nice suit and a bow tie stands out. Who is he? And then as you see him argue, you remember, I want that guy that wore the bow tie. Now, a lot of people have mistaken me for Lot Rolfe. But with the bow tie, they say, no, I want the one that looks like Lot, but has the bow tie. And so early on in my career, I wore the bow tie so often because I used it as recognition. For those of you who are in fraternities and sororities, sometimes you wear your shirt, your fraternity shirt, you wear your pin, you want other people who are involved in that organization to be able to recognize you. I was looking for recognition, not necessarily for what I was doing, but who I was, so that I could separate myself from the competition that was in front of me and get some clients. I needed to survive. So what I'm saying is you have to do something. Now, I'm not suggesting that you wear clown suits like on American Gangster. I'm not suggesting that you turn your hair purple, green, blue, chartreuse. But what I'm saying is there has to be some subtle differences between you and the competition so that you're recognized and can have some level of success. So with that being said, remember, look for what is going to separate you from the competition. If you're like everybody else, you'll be lumped along with everybody else. And I'll tell you, employers, customers, consumers, they are looking for that person who stands out. They're looking for that orange or pink minnow in a world full of gray minnows. They're looking for that bow tie in a world of straight ties. They're looking for you to be something different than what the people around you are. And you can take this and apply it to most things in life. If you're looking for a mate, mates are looking for something different than the cookie cutter, person that is on the other side. You can take this for your studying. Professors are looking for some answer that is above and beyond what the status quo is. They're looking for somebody who studies a little bit more than the others. They're looking for that separation so they can pick you out of a pile. Employers are looking for that separation. So find what it is that it takes for you to separate. Here's what I used to say that would separate me from the pack. I used to say, while you're sleeping, I'm working. While you're partying, I'm working. While you're drinking, I'm working. While you're smoking, I'm working. And when you're working, I'm working even harder, because there has to be a separation between me and you. And I'm not smarter than you. I don't look better than you. So the only thing that's going to separate me from you is my work. So you're going to find me working. I will outwork you. I will outwork you. That's what I used to say to myself. That's what got me to where I am. And that's what's going to get me to the next level. Find what separates you. Dig in on that. Don't give up. You can do it. I believe in you. Thank you for listening. May God bless you. It's your lawyer's favorite lawyer, Jimmy Moore's Motivational Monday.